Let me ask you something most men never think about. What if one of the simplest ways to awaken your masculinity didn't come in a pill, but in a breath? Good evening. I'm Dr. Benjamin Cross. I've spent the last 39 years walking beside men through the changes, the surprises, and sometimes the quiet frustrations that come with aging. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Your body isn't giving up, it's just asking for the right support. Now, here's what most doctors don't tell you. There's a specific breathing technique, something so basic, yet so underutilized, that can actually help reignite your body's natural hormone rhythm, especially the ones responsible for your drive, vitality, and yes, even your bedroom confidence. See, after 60, your testicular function isn't just a matter of testosterone, it's about oxygen, blood flow, and nervous system balance systems that all respond directly to how you breathe. I'm not talking about meditation or yoga, I'm talking about a focused, biologically tuned breathing rhythm you can do in under 5 minutes before bed. And when done right, it gently nudges your gonads to wake up, naturally. Stick with me, and I'll show you the how, and more importantly the why this simple act could quietly restore something you thought was lost. Let me paint a picture for you. It's late evening. The house is quiet. You've turned off the television, brushed your teeth, maybe glanced at your phone one last time before placing it on the nightstand. You slide under the sheets. Your body is tired, but your mind's still awake, floating in that strange in-between space where you're not quite ready to sleep, but not alert enough to do anything else. Now here's a question most men never ask themselves in this moment. What's happening inside my body right now? Because let me tell you something, after nearly 4 decades in medicine, those quiet nighttime hours are not a time of rest for your entire body. In fact, some of your most important internal systems, your hormones, your nervous system, your circulatory flow, are preparing for a crucial overnight reset. But for men over 60, something unexpected often starts to shift, and I've seen it again and again. The breath becomes shallow. The chest tightens just slightly. Sleep may still come, but not deeply. The morning? You wake up feeling flat. No spark, no energy, no fire down there. And you chalk it up to age. But what if I told you it's not age, it's oxygen? You see, the quality of your breathing, especially at night, is directly tied to your body's ability to produce testosterone, circulate blood to key organs, and trigger the brain hormone feedback loop that keeps a man feeling like a man. I've had patients, smart, disciplined men who take every supplement, eat clean, stay active. But still, they come to me whispering about lost desire, unpredictable energy, or that fading sense of masculinity. And often, after running tests, checking hormones, even scanning circulation, we find a simple, overlooked culprit. Their nighttime breath pattern has changed. Not because they're doing something wrong, but because after 60, the body subtly tightens, diaphragmatic movement decreases, nervous system stress builds silently. And without knowing it, men start breathing in a way that signals the body, shut down reproduction, prioritize survival. It's like your body thinks you're always under attack, so instead of investing energy into testosterone, libido, or vitality, it holds everything back. Now think about that. You could be eating well, moving regularly, even getting decent sleep, but if your breathing is telling your body you're in danger, guess what? Your gonads listen. And here's the kicker. We never talk about this. No one teaches men over 60 that how they breathe, especially in the hour before sleep, can affect their testicular function more than a drawer full of vitamins. We've made hormones this mysterious thing, tied only to labs and prescriptions. But I've seen firsthand in dozens of patients over the years that small tweaks in how you breathe before bed can literally change morning blood flow, boost testosterone naturally, and even improve erectile function. Now, before you roll your eyes, let me ask, when was the last time you truly paid attention to your breath, not during exercise, not during meditation, but right before sleep? Have you ever noticed how shallow or tight it becomes? Have you ever wondered why you wake up with a dry mouth, or a stiff back, or that vague sense of tiredness you can't quite explain? These aren't just signs of getting older, they're signals. Your body's trying to tell you something. And the good news is, once you know how to respond, Once you learn how to guide your breath back to its natural rhythm, you can reverse much of that. Not overnight, not with some magical fix, but steadily, gently, like coaxing a fire back to life. And that's what I'll show you next. Because this isn't about hacks, it's about understanding your body with the respect it deserves. You're not broken. You're just breathing wrong. And it's time we fix that. Let's talk about something most men never see coming. Not because it's hidden, but because it's gradual. You don't just wake up one day and feel like a different man. No, it happens slowly. So slowly, in fact, that it's easy to ignore until one day you realize something's changed. That morning spark, not as strong. That feeling of clarity, of purpose, of being in your skin. As a man, it softens. And you start to wonder, is this just aging? Well, yes and no. See, after the age of 60, several key systems in your body begin to shift. And most of these changes happen in the background, quietly, but they have real consequences. Let me break it down simply. As you get older, your diaphragm, the large muscle responsible for deep breathing, starts to lose strength and flexibility. It's not something we think about, but it's essential. Your diaphragm is like the engine of your breath, and when it weakens, you start breathing higher up in the chest rather than deeply through the belly. Chest breathing isn't just less efficient. It activates your sympathetic nervous system, what we call the fight or flight mode. That's the system your body uses in times of danger or stress. Now imagine this. You're lying in bed, thinking you're relaxing, but your breathing pattern is telling your body you're under threat. What do you think happens to your hormonal system? Your brain hears the signal and pulls back on anything non-essential testosterone production, blood flow to the reproductive organs, even growth hormone. Because in a state of stress, survival is the priority, not reproduction, not recovery, not desire. And here's another kicker. Your testicles are incredibly sensitive to this feedback loop. They don't just produce testosterone because they feel like it. They respond to messages mostly from the brain. And if the brain keeps getting stress signals from poor breathing and a restless nervous system, it downshifts. It goes quiet. But why does this all hit after 60? Because this is the point where years of wear and tear catch up. The elasticity of the lungs starts to decline. The autonomic nervous system, which controls your unconscious processes like heart rate and breath, becomes less adaptable. You begin losing melatonin, which affects sleep. And sleep, by the way, is when your body is supposed to reboot your hormonal systems. So now you've got a cascade. Poor breathing leads to shallow sleep. Shallow sleep leads to reduced hormone production. Reduced hormones mean less energy, more stress, lower libido, and round it goes. I've seen this loop play out in so many men. Good men, strong men, men who were once full of life and drive, now confused by a version of themselves that feels half-lit. And do you want to know something? Almost none of them were doing anything wrong. They weren't lazy. They weren't broken. They were just unaware of how powerful these quiet physiological shifts can be. Here's a personal story. I had a patient, let's call him Ray. He was 64, still worked part-time, stayed active, ate better than most guys half his age. But he came to me one day and said, "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore. I'm not depressed, but I'm not alive either." We did all the labs. Everything was borderline, not alarming, but not optimal. Then I asked him about his nights, and that's when the story came out. He'd developed a habit of watching stressful news before bed, breathing through his mouth, shallow, chest tight, falling asleep quickly, but waking up groggy and dull. So I gave him a simple assignment, 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing before bed, slow, through the nose, counting to 5 in, pausing, then 5 out. He laughed at first. That's it? But within 2 weeks, his sleep deepened. Within a month, his morning energy came back. By month 2, his wife pulled me aside and said, "Whatever you told Ray to do, it's working." Now let's be clear. Breathing alone isn't a miracle cure. But when it's combined with understanding when you respect why your body is struggling, it becomes medicine. And that's what I want you to remember. After 60, your body doesn't betray you. It just needs a new kind of care, a more conscious kind of attention. And the breath? It's the easiest place to start. It's the bridge between your mind, your hormones, and your longevity. So tonight, when you lay down, ask yourself, is my body being told it's safe? Or is it still holding tension from the day? That one question could change how your entire system operates. And next, I'll show you what happens if you ignore this. Because the cost of overlooking your breath goes far deeper than low energy or poor sleep, it can reach into every corner of your health and identity as a man. Let's talk about that next. Let me ask you something uncomfortable but necessary. What happens if you keep ignoring the signs? You know what I'm talking about. The fatigue you chalk up to just getting older. The quiet frustration you feel when your body doesn't respond the way it used to. That creeping sense that some part of your masculinity is slipping through your fingers, but you can't quite explain why. Now, I don't say this to scare you. I say it because I've watched too many men lose ground, not because of disease, not because of some big event, but because of slow, silent neglect. And it almost always starts with something small, something like the breath. See, when you breathe shallow and fast, night after night, your body stays locked in a low-grade stress state. That alone may not feel dramatic, but over time, it sets off a domino effect. Your testosterone drops slowly, not in a way that's obvious, but just enough that your muscles get softer, your libido fades, and your energy takes a hit. Your brain starts fogging up. You misplace things, forget names. You feel less sharp, not old, just dull. Your sleep grows lighter, more fragmented. You wake up, not rested, but like you've been busy all night running from something. And over months or years, this quiet, invisible pattern begins to shape your identity. You feel less motivated to socialize. You stop reaching for your partner the way you used to. You hesitate to start new projects, or even finish old ones. You stop feeling like you. I've seen men go from active and alive to withdrawn and disconnected, just because no one told them that their nervous system had flipped into survival mode and stayed there. Even the body starts to change in subtle but dangerous ways. Blood pressure creeps up, inflammation becomes chronic, digestive issues emerge. And here's one that most people never connect. Erectile dysfunction, often blamed on age, or blood flow can be heavily influenced by stress, induced breathing, and nervous system imbalance. Why? Because an erection isn't just a physical event, it's a delicate dance between blood flow, hormones, and your parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for rest, recovery, and intimacy. And if your breathing habits are constantly triggering the opposite system, well, you're fighting biology with biology. Let me tell you about Mark, another patient of mine. He was 67, recently retired, lived with his wife of 40 years. On paper, life looked good. But in private, he confessed he felt invisible. Said he hadn't felt a strong sexual urge in over a year. And what shook him most? He said, "It's like I'm still here, but something inside me has shut off." Now, Mark wasn't sick. His heart was fine. His blood tests weren't great, but nothing alarming. But when we examined his lifestyle, his routines, his sleep, his breathing, it all pointed to a body that had been quietly running on fumes for years. I asked him to try something simple, adjust his evening routine, focus on nasal breathing, slow, belly-based breaths, cut out the digital noise. Give his body a reason to shift back into rest and repair mode. He did it, reluctantly at first, but within 6 weeks, not only did his sleep improve, his mood began to lift. And then one day, he came into my office and said something I'll never forget. "Doc, I had a dream last night where I was 30 again, and for the first time in years, I woke up feeling like it." Now look, I'm not saying a few deep breaths will turn back the clock. This isn't a Hollywood miracle. But I am saying this. When you ignore your body's stress signals, especially in the form of tight, shallow breathing, you don't just risk poor sleep or low libido, you risk forgetting what it feels like to be fully alive. And that, to me, is the real danger. Because once a man starts disconnecting from his body, his mind follows, his relationships suffer, his sense of meaning, of vitality, of purpose, it all starts to slip away. So if you've been brushing off these changes, if you've been telling yourself, "I'm fine, it's just age," I urge you to pause, reflect. Your breath is not just air. It's information. It's instruction. It's your body's way of deciding how to spend its energy. And if you've been sending it the wrong message for years, it's no wonder you're not getting the results you want. But here's the part I love telling men the most. It's never too late to change that. In the next section, I'll show you exactly how to begin shifting this, how to retrain your body, gently and naturally, to come back online, to reconnect with the power you may have thought was gone. Because trust me, I've seen it too many times to believe otherwise. You're not broken. You've just been breathing like you are. Let's fix that. Together. So here's the good news. You don't need a pharmacy. You don't need a new identity. You don't need to turn your life upside down. You just need to breathe like your body remembers how. I'm serious. Because even after 60, even after 70, your body is still wired for repair. It still responds to the signals you give it. And the breath? That's your simplest, most immediate lever. So let's walk through it. I call this technique the evening reset breath. It's not mystical. It's not trendy. It's grounded in physiology and 39 years of experience working with men who thought they had lost it, only to discover their bodies were just waiting for the right nudge. Here's how you start. 1. Timing matters. Do it in the evening 30 to 60 minutes before bed. That's when your nervous system is naturally trying to downshift, and this technique helps reinforce that. 2. Position matters. Sit upright, or even lie on your back with a small pillow under your knees. Close your eyes, hands resting on your belly. 3. Breath through your nose, not your mouth. Nasal breathing helps filter and warm the air. More importantly, it promotes the production of nitric oxide, a natural vasodilator that supports circulation, even to the reproductive organs. 4. Now the rhythm. Inhale slowly for a count of 5. Hold for 2 seconds. Exhale slowly for 6 or 7 seconds. Pause again for 2 seconds. Repeat for 5 minutes. That's it, just 5 minutes. But what it's doing, quietly, inside your body, is powerful. You're telling your nervous system, it's safe now, you can rest. You're shifting from sympathetic, fight or flight, to parasympathetic, rest and repair. You're increasing blood flow, slowing your heart rate, and sending a message from your lungs to your brain that says, we're no longer under threat. That message triggers a chain reaction. The hypothalamus, the brain's command center, starts to dial back cortisol, the stress hormone. Your pituitary gland, your hormone traffic cop, gets the signal to resume natural rhythms. Your testes, those long-ignored glands, begin to receive clear, unblocked signals to resume testosterone production. Now let's zoom out. What happens when you do this night after night? You start sleeping deeper. You wake up more alert. Your morning erections return. Your mood lifts. You're less reactive. You feel like you again. I've had patients say, "Doc, I don't know what happened. I feel lighter, like something turned back on, and I just smile, because that's exactly what's happening." Their natural systems, muted by years of stress, breathing, and shallow sleep, are finally turning back on. But let me add this. This technique isn't magic. It's not, do it once and be cured. It's like watering a dry plant. It takes time, patience, consistency. And it works best when you stack it with other small changes. Cut off screens 1 hour before bed. Blue light delays melatonin. Avoid heavy meals at night. Digestion keeps the system busy. Dim the lights. Create a sleep cue. Your body craves rhythm. Hydrate earlier in the day to avoid nighttime urination. Stretch lightly. Loosen the back and shoulders, open up the breath. But even if you did nothing else, just 5 minutes of focused breathing, you'd start to feel the shift. And here's the perspective I want you to hear loud and clear. You're not failing. You're not falling apart. You're not past your prime. You've simply been operating with a nervous system that's stuck in on mode. And the breath? It's the off switch. It's the invitation back to balance, back to sleep, back to hormones that flow like they used to, not because you're 30 again, but because your body finally feels safe enough to rebuild. So tonight, instead of scrolling or worrying or overthinking, lie down, Place one hand on your belly. Breathe slowly. Remind your body, we're okay now. You can rest. You can restore. And trust me, over time, it listens. And that, my friend, is where everything begins again. Next, I'll walk you through part 5. What's the takeaway? Where we bring all of this home with clarity, hope, and real encouragement, ready when you are. So, what's the real takeaway here? It's simple, but not small. You're not losing your edge because you're getting older. You're losing your edge because your body has quietly shifted into a mode of protection, not performance. And the shift was so subtle, so slow, that you didn't even notice it happening. You just started waking up more tired, feeling less interest, carrying more weight, not just in your body, but in your spirit. And like many men, you told yourself, it's just life, it's just age. But what if I told you, no, it's just your breath? That's the heart of all this, that the very thing we take for granted, our breath, is actually the switchboard for so many vital systems. Your hormones, your sleep, your blood flow, your brain. They're all listening to how you breathe. And the truth is, once you understand that, once you respect it, you can start making real change with the smallest of steps. I'm not promising that 5 minutes of deep breathing will make you feel 25 again. But I've seen enough men, dozens, maybe hundreds, come back from the edge of burnout, fatigue, and low drive simply by giving their nervous system the signal it's been waiting for. They didn't overhaul their lives, they didn't need medications, they just listened. To their body, to their breath, to that quiet inner whisper saying, I want to feel alive again. And if that whisper lives in you too, then this is your starting point. Just imagine it. You wake up with clarity again. Your mood lifts before coffee. You look at your partner, not with obligation, but with interest. You move through your day with ease, not drag. You start to feel proud of your body again, not distant from it. And all that from learning how to breathe again. So here's my challenge for you. Tonight, before you go to sleep, take 5 minutes. Turn off the noise, turn off the stress. Just lie down. Breathe slow and deep through your nose and send your body the message it's been craving. You're safe now. It's time to rebuild. This is the doorway back. Back to rest. Back to balance. Back to the version of you that still exists, maybe a little hidden, maybe a little quiet, but very much still alive. And the next time you catch yourself thinking, is this it? Is this just what aging is? Remember this. You're not broken. Your body's not done. It just needs the right message, sent through the breath. So I'll leave you with this. Breathe like you believe in your body again. Because I do. I've seen what happens when men stop fighting time and start working with their biology. Now it's your turn. And if you found this helpful, pass it on. Share it with a friend, a brother, a father. Ask in the comments, what's one thing you'll try tonight to reclaim your breath and your spark? You deserve to feel good again. Let's start with one deep breath. So there you have it. A simple breath, a quiet moment, a small act of awareness that can ripple out and change everything from your sleep, to your hormones, to your sense of self as a man. You don't need to chase youth. You just need to support the body you already have, the one that still wants to work for you, if you give it the right message. And maybe tonight, when you lie in bed, you'll remember this little trick. Maybe you'll place your hand on your belly, take that first slow breath, and feel something shift, something come back online. That spark, it's not gone. It's just waiting for you to say, I'm ready again. If this resonated with you, or if you know another man who might be quietly struggling the way you were, share this with him. Start the conversation. You never know who might need it more than they're willing to admit. And hey, if you'd like more of these calm, science-backed, real talk videos about men's health after 60, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, Sit Here with Teenager. Because this space isn't just for tips and tricks, it's for real men, real stories, and real hope. We grow stronger when we learn together. Until next time, breathe deep, live slow, and never forget, you're not finished, you're just beginning again.